"Daddy, my Kelce cards, they're all gone." The broken voice of little Braden Mitchell echoed through the still smoldering ruins of his home in Liberty, Missouri. The 9-year-old boy stood in the middle of what once was his bedroom, his small hands trembling as he held a melted piece of plastic that used to be his most precious card, an autographed Travis Kelce card his father had given him for his birthday. Cordelia Mitchell tried to hold back her own tears as she hugged her son, her nurse uniform still dirty with soot from the night when everything changed. "We'll get you other cards, honey," she whispered, knowing it wasn't about the cards. It was about dreams, memory, the feeling of safety that had turned to ash in a matter of hours. Thatcher Mitchell remained silent, staring at the ruins of the house he had built with his own hands. 20 years of hard work as a mechanic, saving every penny, and now, nothing. Insurance would cover part of it. But how do you explain to a 9-year-old that not all dreams can be rebuilt? It was 7 a.m. on a Tuesday that should have been like any other. But when Magnolia Thornfield, the 73-year-old neighbor, posted a video of Braden crying over his lost cards with the caption, "This boy lost everything in the fire, including his Chiefs collection. Can someone help?" She had no idea she was about to touch the heart of someone very special. The video started circulating on local Facebook, then Twitter, and within hours it was being shared by thousands of people. Among them was Travis Kelce, who had just woken up in Kansas City and was checking his social media before morning practice. The fire had started at 2 a.m. when an electrical fault in the basement sparked a blaze that quickly consumed the 2-story home. Ezekiel Ashworth, the local fire chief, had arrived with his crew within minutes, but by then, the flames had already claimed the first floor. The family had barely escaped with their lives, grabbing nothing but the clothes on their back. Now, as the sun rose over Liberty, Missouri, the Mitchell family stood among the charred remains of their American dream. Neighbors had already started bringing clothes, food, and temporary shelter offers. The small town of Liberty had always been the kind of place where people looked out for each other, but this tragedy had shaken everyone to their core. Braden had been collecting Kansas City Chiefs cards since he was 5 years old. Every birthday, every Christmas, every good report card was celebrated with a new pack of cards or a special edition piece. His room had been a shrine to his beloved team, with posters covering every wall and his card collection displayed in protective cases his father had built specifically for them. The autographed Travis Kelce card had been the crown jewel of his collection. Thatcher had saved for months to buy it from a sports memorabilia shop in Kansas City, surprising Braden on his 9th birthday just 2 months ago. The boy had cried tears of joy that day, promising to keep it safe forever. Now, forever had lasted only 8 weeks. "Mom, do you think Travis Kelce will ever know that I lost his card?" Braden asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I took such good care of it. I never even took it out of the case." Cordelia knelt down beside her son, brushing soot from his hair. "I'm sure he would understand, baby. Sometimes bad things happen to good people, and it's not anybody's fault." What they didn't know was that at that exact moment, 30 miles away in Kansas City, Travis Kelce was staring at his phone screen, watching the video of Braden crying over his lost cards. The NFL star had seen thousands of fan videos over the years, but something about this 9-year-old boy's genuine heartbreak cut straight through to his soul. The video showed Braden standing in the ruin, holding up the melted remains of what used to be his prized possession. "This was my Travis Kelce card," he said to the camera, his voice breaking. "My dad got it for me for my birthday. It was autographed and everything. Now it's just gone." Travis paused the video and replayed it 3 times. He could see the pure devastation in the child's eyes, not just about losing material things, but about losing the sense of security that comes with having a place to call home. As someone who had grown up in a close-knit family, Travis understood the importance of home and the crushing weight of losing everything. He screenshot the video and sent it to his assistant with a simple message: "Find out everything you can about this family. I want to help." Meanwhile, back in Liberty, Magnolia Thornfield was overwhelmed by the response to her video. Her phone hadn't stopped buzzing with notifications. People from all over Missouri were sharing the video, offering help, and sending messages of support. Local news stations had already reached out, wanting to cover the story. "Cordelia, honey, You need to see this, Magnolia called out, hurrying over with her phone. The video of Braden has been shared over 1,000 times already. People are wanting to help. Cordelia took the phone with shaking hand, reading through the dozens of comments from strangers offering everything from clothes to furniture to gift cards. I can't believe this, she whispered. All these people want to help us. Thatcher put his arm around his wife's shoulders, feeling overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers. There are still good people in this world, he said softly. Maybe we'll get through this after all. But none of them could have imagined that the biggest surprise yet to come. At 8:30 a.m., Travis Kelce was supposed to be focusing on game film in the Kansas City Chiefs facility, but his mind kept drifting back to the video of Braden Mitchell. He had watched it 6 more times since arriving at the training facility, and each viewing made him more determined to do something significant for this family. "Coach, I need to step out for a minute," Travis said to his position coach, holding up his phone. "I've got something important I need to handle." His teammate and friend, Patrick Mahomes, noticed the distraction. "Everything okay, man? You seem pretty focused on that phone today." Travis showed him the video. "This kid lost everything in a house fire. Look at him crying over his cards. This is about more than football cards, Pat. This is about a family that's lost everything, and their little boy is trying to be brave." Patrick watched the video, his own heart breaking at the sight of Braden's tears. "Man, that's rough. What are you thinking of doing?" "I want to visit them today. I know we've got practice, but this feels more important than running drills." His agent, Marcus Thompson, overheard the conversation and immediately interjected. "Travis, you can't just drop everything and drive to some random family's house. You have contractual obligations. Practice is mandatory. You've got the Sports Illustrated photo shoot at 3 p.m. and the charity gala tonight." Travis felt the familiar tension between his public obligations and his personal value. "Marcus, look at this video. Really look at it. This isn't about publicity or good press. This is about a kid who lost everything, including his faith in good things happen. Back in Liberty, the Mitchell family was discovering just how viral Braden's video had become. Ezekiel Ash, the fire chief who had fought the blaze, arrived at the temporary shelter where they were staying with some surprising news. "Folks, I've been getting calls all morning," Ezekiel said, his weathered face showing both exhaustion and excitement. "That video of Braden has reached Kansas City. I mean, really reached Kansas City. People are talking about it on the radio, and I just got off the phone with someone from the Chiefs organization asking about your family." Cordelia's hand flew to her mouth. "Someone from the Chiefs? Really? They wanted to verify that the story was real, that you folks really lost everything. I told them about the fire, about how hard-working you and Thatcher are, about how Braden is just about the sweetest kid in this whole town." Thatcher, who had been quiet all morning, finally spoke up. "What does that mean? Are they going to help us?" "I don't know for sure, but the person I spoke with said they were looking into ways to help. Could be they'll send some signed merchandise, maybe some tickets to a game." Braden's eyes lit up for the first time since the fire. "Do you think Travis Kelce knows about me?" Ezekiel knelt down to the boy's level. "Son, I think there's a very good chance he does." What Ezekiel didn't know was that Travis Kelce didn't just know about Braden. He was currently in a heated discussion with his management team about canceling his entire afternoon schedule to drive to Liberty personally. "Travis, be reasonable," Marcus pressed. "You can send him a care package worth thousands of dollars, sign some jerseys, some helmets, maybe even record a personal video message. That would mean the world to this kid." "It's not enough," Travis said firmly. "This family doesn't need more stuff. They need hope. They need to know that someone cares enough to show up, not just send things." His publicist, Sarah Chen, tried a different approach. "Think about the logistics, Travis. If you show up unannounced, you'll create a media circuit. The family is already dealing with trauma. Do you want to add cameras and reporters to their stress?" Travis paused, considering her point. She was right about the potential for media attention, but something in Braden's eyes in that video told him that this wasn't about publicity. This was about a moment that could change a child's perspective on whether the world was a place where good things could still happen. Meanwhile, the video continued to spread beyond Missouri. Chiefs fans from around the country were sharing it, adding their own comments about wanting to help the Mitchell family. Local Kansas City news stations had picked up the story, and by noon, it was trending on Twitter with the hashtag Andrew Help Braden Mitchell. Magnolia Thornfield was overwhelmed by the response. Her simple act of compassion had created a movement. People were sending money through online fundraising platforms, local businesses were donating goods and services, and the small town of Liberty was being flooded with offers of help from complete strangers. "I just wanted to help one little boy," she told her daughter on the phone. "I had no idea it would become this big." At the Chiefs' facility, Travis made his decision. He walked into the head coach's office and knocked on the door. "Coach, I need to talk to you about something important." "What's on your mind, Kelce?" Travis explained the situation, showing the coach the video and explaining his desire to visit the family personally. "I know we've got practice, but this feels like something bigger than football right now." The coach watched the video, his expression softening. "How long would you need?" "A few hours. I want to drive there myself, spend some time with the family, and come back before tonight's team meeting." The coach was quiet for a long moment. "Travis, in all my years of coaching, I've seen a lot of players who talk about giving back to the community. But this is different. Go. Do what you need to do. We'll adjust practice around you." Travis felt a wave of relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Coach. This means everything to me." "Just promise me one thing," the coach said. "Don't let this become a publicity stunt. If you're going to do this, do it right. Do it from the heart. I promise. This isn't about cameras or headlines. This is about showing a little boy that sometimes, when everything goes wrong, something good can still happen." As Travis left the coach's office, he felt a sense of purpose he hadn't experienced in years. He wasn't just going to visit a fan, he was going to try to restore a family's faith in the possibility of miracle. At 1 p.m., Travis Kelce sat in his car in the Chiefs' facility parking lot. Engine running, Google Maps showing the 30-minute drive to Liberty, Missouri. But his phone was buzzing constantly with messages from his management team, each one more urgent than the last. "Travis, the Sports Illustrated photographer is already setting up. You can't just disappear," Sarah Chen texted. Another message from Market. "The charity gala has 500 attendees expecting you. You're the keynote speaker. We can't reschedule." Travis stared at his phone, feeling the weight of obligations pressing down on. These weren't just casual appointments. They were career-defining moments, contractual commitments that could affect his endorsement deals and public image. But then he looked at his phone again, at the screenshot of Braden Mitchell's tear-streaked face, and everything else seemed to fade into the background. Back in Liberty, the Mitchell family was trying to process the overwhelming response to their story. Cordelia had returned to work at the hospital for a few hours, desperate for the normalcy of routine, but found herself constantly distracted by the messages of support pouring in from around the country. "Mrs. Mitchell, there's a reporter here from Kansas City wanting to interview about your son's video," her supervisor informed her during her break. Cordelia felt a wave of anxiety. "I don't know if I'm ready for that. We're still trying to figure out where we're going to live, what we're going to do next." Meanwhile, Thatcher was at his auto shop, trying to work but finding it impossible to concentrate. His co-workers had all seen the video, and while their support was touching, he felt exposed and vulnerable in a way he'd never experienced before. "Thatcher, man, I saw your boy on the news," his supervisor said. "If you need time off to deal with all this, you take it. We'll cover for you." "Thanks, boss. I appreciate it. It's just, I never expected something like that. We've always been private people, you know, and now the whole world is watching." The most difficult part was that Braden was still inconsolable. Despite all the offers of help and support, the 9-year-old couldn't understand why his special card was gone, why his room was destroyed, why everything he loved had disappeared overnight. "Daddy, do you think we'll ever have a real home again?" Braden asked during lunch at the temporary shelter. The question hit Thatcher like a physical blow. "Of course we will, buddy. It might take some time, but we'll build it back up. We'll make it even better than before." "But what about my cards? What about my Travis Kelce poster? What about my Chiefs blanket Grandma made me?" Thatcher had to turn away to hide his tears. How do you explain to a child that some things can never be replaced, that some losses are permanent? At that moment, Travis Kelce was facing his own moment of truth. He had driven halfway to Liberty before pulling over at a gas station, his phone ringing with what felt like the 100th call of the day. "Travis, where are you?" Marcus's voice was strained. "The photographer is asking when you'll be here. I'm running out of excuses. I'm doing something important, Marcus. Something that matters more than a photo shoot." "Travis, listen to me. I understand you want to help this family, But you can't just abandon your professional responsibilities. Send them a check. Send them merchandise. Hell, send them season tickets. But don't throw away your career commitments for one afternoon. Travis felt the familiar pull of professional obligation, the weight of expectations that had defined his adult life. He was Travis Kelce, NFL superstar, with responsibilities to his team, his sponsors, his fans. People depended on him to show up, to be reliable, to meet his commitments. But then he thought about Braden's voice in the video. "This was my Travis Kelce card. My dad got it for me for my birthday. It was autographed and everything. Now it's just gone." The pain in that child's voice was real. The loss was real. And Travis had the power to do something about it, to show up when it mattered most. "Marcus, I'm going to Liberty. I'm going to visit this family. You can reschedule the photo shoot, and I'll figure out something for the charity gala. But I'm not turning around." "Travis, you're making a huge mistake. This could damage your reputation, your relationships with sponsors. My reputation will survive. But if I don't do this, if I don't show up for this family when they need it most, I don't know if I'll be able to live with myself." Travis hung up the phone, turned off the notifications, and got back on the road to Liberty. For the first time in months, he felt like he was doing exactly what he was supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, in Liberty, Ezekiel Ashworth was getting more calls from people claiming to represent Travis Kelce or the Chiefs organization. Some were legitimate offers of help. Others were clearly scams trying to take advantage of the family's situation. "Cordelia, I need to warn you," Ezekiel said when she returned from work. "There are people trying to exploit this situation. Don't give out any personal information to anyone calling about Travis Kelce unless you can verify they're legitimate." Cordelia felt overwhelmed. "How do we know what's real and what isn't? How do we know who to trust?" "Stick with local people you know," Ezekiel advised. "If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Real help comes quietly, without a lot of fanfare." What none of them knew was that real help was currently driving through Missouri farmland, just 20 minutes away, in the form of a nervous NFL superstar who had just made the biggest decision of his professional life. Travis pulled into a sporting goods store in a small town just outside Liberty. He needed to buy gifts for Braden, but more importantly, he needed a few minutes to think about what he was going to say to this family. How do you comfort a child who has lost everything? How do you restore hope to parents who are struggling to rebuild their lives? Travis had signed thousands of autographs, taken millions of photos, but he had never felt the weight of responsibility quite like this. He selected items carefully: a new Chiefs jersey in Braden's size, a signed helmet, a complete set of current Chiefs player cards, and a signed football. But as he stood in the checkout line, he realized that none of these things would truly address the family's deepest need. What they needed was not more stuff, but hope. They needed to believe that good things could still happen, that people cared about them, that their loss mattered to someone beyond their immediate community. Travis paid for the item and walked back to his car, knowing that in 15 minutes he would be knocking on a door that would change at least one family's life forever. At 3:15 p.m., Travis Kelce pulled into the driveway of a modest ranch house on Maple Street in Liberty, Missouri. This wasn't the Mitchell family's original home. That was still a pile of charred rubble on the other side of town. This was Cordelia's sister's house, where the family was staying temporarily while they figured out their next steps. Travis sat in his car for a moment, looking at the house with its small front porch and well-maintained garden. He could see children's toys scattered in the yard, evidence of a family trying to maintain some normalcy in the midst of chaos. His heart was pounding in a way it never did before a game. Meanwhile, inside the house, Cordelia was trying to help Braden with his homework, while her sister Jennifer prepared dinner. The boy was having trouble concentrating, his mind still processing the trauma of losing everything he had known as home. "I can't remember how to do this math problem," Braden said, frustrated tears threatening to spill over. "We did it at school, but I can't remember anything right now." "It's okay, baby," Cordelia said softly. "Your brain is still trying to understand what happened. Give yourself time." Thatcher was in the backyard, on the phone with the insurance company for the third time that day. The conversation was not going well. "What do you mean you need more documentation? The fire chief's report isn't enough? The house is completely gone. There's nothing left to document." Jennifer looked out the window and saw an unfamiliar car in the driveway. "Cordelia, are you expecting someone?" There's a nice car out there and someone sitting in it. Cordelia peered through the curtain. She couldn't see the driver clearly, but something about the situation felt different from the reporters and well-wishers who had been stopping by all day. Travis took a deep breath, grabbed the shopping bags from his passenger seat, and walked up to the front door. His hands were actually shaking as he raised his fist to knock. This was more nerve-wracking than any fourth-quarter drive or playoff game he'd ever played. The knock was soft, but firm. Jennifer answered the door, and for a moment, she just stared. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Cordelia, you need to come here, right now." Cordelia appeared in the doorway, and her face went completely white. You're Travis Kelce." "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry to show up unannounced, but I saw the video of Braden and I had to come." At the mention of his name, Braden's head snapped up from his homework. He looked toward the door, saw the tall figure of his hero standing there, and his mouth fell open. Is that really Travis Kelce?" Braden whispered to his mother. Travis heard the wisp and smiled. "Hey there, Braden. I heard you're a Chiefs fan." The boy couldn't move. He just stood there staring at his idol, unable to process that this was actually happening. Thatcher, hearing the commotion, came in from the backyard. When he saw Travis Kelce standing in his sister-in-law's living room, he nearly dropped his phone. "I'll call you back," he said to the insurance company, and hung up. "Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, Travis, I want you to know how sorry I am about what happened to your family. I can't imagine what you're going through." Cordelia was still in shock. "You actually came here. You actually drove here to see us." "I had to. When I saw that video of Braden, I knew I had to be here. I brought some things for you, but honestly, I mostly just wanted to meet you all in person." Travis held up the shopping bag. "I got you some new Chiefs gear, Braden. I know it can't replace what you lost, but I wanted you to have something special." Braden finally found his voice. "You really came to see me? Just me?" "I came to see your whole family, buddy. I wanted to tell you that I'm sorry about your cards, and I wanted to thank you for being such a loyal fan." Travis knelt down to Braden's level. "Can I tell you something? I've been playing football for a long time, and I've met a lot of fans. But when I saw your video, when I saw how much those cards meant to you, it reminded me why I love this game so much. It's not about the fame or the money. It's about connecting with people like you." Braden's eyes filled with tears, but these were different tears than he'd been crying for days. These were tears of joy, of disbelief, of a dream coming true in the middle of a nightmare. "I thought I'd never have another Travis Kelce card," Braden said. "I thought everything was gone forever." "Well, let's see if we can fix that," Travis said, opening one of the bags. He pulled out a brand-new Chiefs jersey with Braden's name on the back. "I had this made special for you." Braden's hands trembled as he took the jersey. "It has my name on it, my actual name." "That's right. You're not just any fan, Braden. You're my fan, and I take care of my fan." Travis spent the next hour sitting on the floor with Braden, looking through the new cards, talking about football, and sharing stories about the team. But more importantly, he listened to Braden talk about the fire, about his fears, about his worries for his family. "I keep thinking it's my fault," Braden confided. "Like maybe if I hadn't left my nightlight on, or if I had been more careful with something." Travis's heart broke. "Braden, listen to me very carefully. This was not your fault. Sometimes bad things happen, and there's nothing anyone could have done to prevent them. You saved your family by waking them up. You're a hero." Cordelia and Thatcher watched from the kitchen, both crying quietly at the sight of their son smiling and laughing for the first time since the fire. "I can't believe he's here," Cordelia whispered to her husband. "I can't believe he actually came." "He didn't have to do this," Thatcher replied. "He could have just sent the stuff and been done with it. But he's here, talking to our boy like he's the most important person in the world." After an hour of talking and laughing, Travis stood up to leave. "I should get going, but I want you to know that you're always welcome at our game. I'll make sure you get tickets whenever you want them." "Wait," Braden said suddenly. "I made something for you." The boy ran to his backpack and pulled out a hand-drawn picture of Travis Kelce catching a touchdown pass. At the bottom, in crayon, it said, "Thank you for being my hero. Love, Braden." Travis took the picture, and for a moment, he couldn't speak. This 9-year-old boy, who had lost everything, had spent time making something for him. "This is going on my refrigerator at home," Travis said, his voice thick with emotion. "This is the best gift anyone has ever given me." As Travis walked toward the door, he turned back one more time. "Braden, I want you to remember something. You're going to face tough times in your life, times when everything seems impossible. But you're stronger than you know, and you have people who love you. That's what really matters. But Travis wasn't done. He had one more surprise that would change everything. As Travis reached for the door handle, he paused and turned back to the Mitchell family. His heart was pounding, not from nerves this time, but from the weight of the decision he was about to make. "Actually, there's one more thing," he said, his voice slightly trembling. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a manila envelope, his hands shaking slightly. The room fell completely silent. Cordelia, Thatcher, and even little Braden could sense that something monumentally important was about to happen. "I've been thinking about this all day," Travis began, his voice growing stronger with each word. "About what you really need. Cards and jerseys are nice, but they're just things. What you need is something more fundamental." Travis looked directly at Braden, then at his parent. "This morning, after I saw your video, I made some phone calls. I talked to a real estate agent in Liberty, and I found something I think you might like." The silence in the room was deafening. Cordelia's hand moved to her chest, as if trying to steady her racing heart. "Inside this envelope," Travis continued, his voice now filled with emotion, "are the keys and the deed to a house. It's about 10 minutes from here, has 3 bedrooms, a big backyard for Braden to play in, and..." He paused, clearly fighting back tears. "It has a perfect room for a new card collection." The words hung in the air like a miracle that couldn't possibly be real. Braden looked confused, not fully understanding what was happening. Cordelia's legs seemed to give out, and she sat down hard on the couch. "A house?" Thatcher whispered, his voice barely audible. "You bought us a house? For real?" Braden asked, his 9-year-old mind trying to process something that seemed impossible. "A real house? That we get to keep forever?" Travis knelt down to Braden's level, tears now flowing freely down his. "Forever, champion. And you know what? You reminded me today why I play football. It's not for the trophies or the fame. It's for families like yours, who inspire me to use whatever blessings I have to make a real difference." Cordelia was sobbing now, unable to form words. Thatcher moved to embrace his wife, both of them overwhelmed by the magnitude of what was happening. "But why?" Thatcher managed to ask. "We're strangers to you. Why would you do something this incredible for people you just met?" Travis stood up, wiping his eyes. "Because that video of Braden reminded me of something I'd forgotten. Success isn't measured by what you achieve for yourself. It's measured by what you can do for others when they need it most." He handed the envelope to Thatcher, whose hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold it. "I saw a family that had lost everything, but still had love for each other. I saw a little boy who, even in his darkest moment, was worried about disappointing his hero. That kind of heart, that kind of love, that's what the world needs more of." Braden suddenly understood. "You mean we're not going to be homeless anymore? We're going to have our own house again?" "That's exactly what it means, buddy." The boy launched himself into Travis's arms, hugging him with all the strength his small body could muster. "You're the best person in the whole world," Braden whispered into Travis's shoulder. Cordelia finally found her voice. "How can we ever repay you for something like this? How can we ever thank you enough?" Travis gently disengaged from Braden's hug and looked at the whole family. "You already have. You reminded me that a house isn't built with walls and a roof. It's built with love, with family, with the determination to take care of each other no matter what happens. You have all of that in abundance." Magnolia Thornfield, who had been watching from her window across the street, came hurrying over when she saw the commotion. When Jennifer answered the door and whispered what had happened, the elderly woman burst into tears of joy. "I knew something special was going to happen," Magnolia said, entering the living room. "I could feel it in my bones when I posted that video. But this is beyond anything I could have imagined." Travis spent another hour with the family, giving them the address of their new home and making arrangements for them to see it the next day. He exchanged phone numbers with Thatcher and Cordelia, promising to stay in touch and check on their progress. "I want to know how Braden's new card collection is coming along," Travis said with a smile. "And I want updates on how you're settling into the new place." As word spread through the neighborhood about what had happened, people began gathering outside Jennifer's house, not to intrude, but to witness something they instinctively knew was historic. The sight of an NFL superstar playing catch with Braden in the front yard, while his parents looked on with tears of joy, was something no one would ever forget. Ezekiel Ashworth arrived just as Travis was preparing to leave. "Son," the grizzled fire chief said, extending his hand. In 40 years of emergency response, I've seen the worst of what can happen to family. But today, I've seen the best of what people can do for each other. Travis shook the man's hand firmly. Thank you for everything you did to save this family. You're the real hero in this story. As Travis finally walked back to his car, the entire neighborhood had come out to witness the conclusion of what would become a legend in Liberty, Missouri. Children who had been too shy to approach earlier now waved enthusiastic. Adults applauded quietly, not wanting to break the magic of the moment. Braden ran alongside Travis's car as he slowly drove away, clutching his new Chiefs jersey and waving with pure joy. Thank you, Travis. Thank you for everything. Travis rolled down his window. Thank you, Braden, for reminding me what really matters. Take care of that new house and take care of your family. As Travis drove away from Liberty, heading back to Kansas City and the professional obligations he had abandoned for the afternoon, he felt something he hadn't experienced in years. The deep satisfaction of knowing he had used his platform for something truly meaningful. His phone was buzzing with dozens of missed calls and messages from his agent, his publicist, and various sponsors. The Sports Illustrated shoot had been postponed, the charity gala would have to proceed without its keynote speaker, and there would undoubtedly be professional consequences to deal with. But none of that mattered. In his rearview mirror, he could see the small town of Liberty growing smaller, but the impact of what had happened there would stay with him forever. Later that evening, photos and videos of Travis's visit began appearing on social media, shared by neighbors who had witnessed the extraordinary afternoon. The images of him playing catch with Braden, hugging the family, and the emotional moment when he handed over the envelope quickly went viral. But unlike the morning's video, a crying boy in the ruins of his home, these images showed joy, hope, and the incredible power of human kindness. They showed a family that had gone from homeless in the morning to homeowners by evening, not through luck or chance, but through the compassion of someone who chose to act when action mattered most. The Mitchell family spent that night in their temporary shelter, but for the first time since the fire, they went to sleep with hope instead of despair. Braden clutched his new Travis Kelce jersey, but more importantly, he went to sleep knowing that heroes weren't just character stories. Sometimes they showed up at your door when you needed them most. Thatcher and Cordelia lay awake long into the night, holding hands and trying to process the miraculous turn their lives had taken. In 12 hours, they had gone from having lost everything to being given a future couldn't have imagined. "Do you think this is real?" Cordelia whispered to her husband. "Do you think we're going to wake up and find out it was all a dream?" Thatcher squeezed her hand and looked at the envelope sitting on the nightstand, containing the deed to their new home. "It's real, honey. Someone saw our pain and decided to do something about it. People like Travis Kelce don't exist in dreams. They exist in real life, and sometimes, if we're incredibly lucky, they cross our path." Meanwhile, Travis Kelce arrived back in Kansas City to face the consequences of his impromptu trip. His agent Marcus was waiting in his driveway, clearly frustrated and worried. "Travis, we need to talk," Marcus said as Travis got out of his car. "The Sports Illustrated people are furious. The charity gala was a disaster without you, and I've been fielding calls all evening from sponsors wanting to know why you disappeared." Travis looked at his agent, someone who had been part of his professional life for years but had never really understood what drove him beyond football. "Marcus, I bought a family a house today, a family that lost everything. I sat on the floor with a 9-year-old boy who thought the world had forgotten about him, and I showed him that sometimes good things do happen to good people." Marcus's expression softened slightly. "Travis, I understand the sentiment, but you can't just abandon your professional commitments every time you see a sad story on social media. This wasn't just any sad story, Marcus. This was a moment when I had the power to change lives, and I took it. If that costs me some endorsement deals or photo shoots, then so be it. I'd rather be remembered as someone who showed up when it mattered than someone who never missed a scheduled appearance." The next morning, the story of Travis Kelce's surprise visit and incredible generosity was front-page news across the country. Sports networks, national morning shows, and social media platforms were all covering the story of the NFL star who had given a homeless family a new beginning. But in Liberty, Missouri, the real story was just beginning. The Mitchell family stood in front of their new home, a beautiful 3-bedroom house with a wraparound porch and a large backyard, holding the keys that Travis had given them less than 24 hours earlier. Braden ran through every room, his excitement infectious, as he discovered each new space. "Mom, look, this room has built-in shelves perfect for my new card collection. And Dad, there's a garage where you can work on cars. And the backyard is huge." Cordelia and Thatcher moved through their new home in a state of grateful wonder. The house was fully furnished, beautifully maintained, and located in a safe neighborhood with good school. Travis had thought of everything. Magnolia Thornfield, who had become something of a local celebrity for posting the video started it all, arrived with a housewarming gift, a framed photo of Braden and Travis playing catch in the front yard. "This is for your new home," she said, hugging Cordelia tightly, "so you'll always remember that miracles do happen, and sometimes they come in the form of people who care enough to act." As the sun set on what would forever be remembered as the most remarkable day in Liberty, Missouri's history, Braden Mitchell sat in his new bedroom, carefully arranging his new Chiefs cards on the built-in shelf. But the most special item wasn't a card at all. It was the hand-drawn picture Travis had promised to put on his refrigerator, which the NFL star had photographed and sent back to Braden with a message. "This is hanging in my kitchen right now, reminding me every day why I play football." The story of Travis Kelce's visit to the Mitchell family became more than just a feel-good news story. It became a symbol of what's possible when people with the power to help choose to use that power for good. It inspired other athletes, celebrities, and ordinary citizens to look for ways to make a difference in their community. But for the Mitchell family, it was simply the day their lives changed forever. The day they learned that even in the darkest moment, when everything seems lost, heroes can appear at your door and remind you that the world is still full of good people doing extraordinary things.